Hello again. It is Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. Joining us for the first time as a co-host, Allison McKinney is here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. It's fun to get to talk to you and get to see you more.
Yeah, this is awesome. This really is. Let me see. Erin is at Stafford Motor Speedway. SRX, that's her old home track. Our old buddy Doug Colby is up there with the SRX program. Ashley is somewhere between here and Pennsylvania because the family is doing a move. A couple of weeks ago, we're out at Millbridge, and Allison comes up, and you said, if you ever need a co-host, and I'm like, yeah, cool, and we've known each other for years and years.
Yeah.
And I came back and I said, I think she'd be really, really good. I think she's great. She talks, she's good, knows everybody in the sprint car world, and who would know 2 weeks later, it's like, right. Here we are. So it is cool.
I mean, I was joking with you, but I will always talk about sprint cars.
No, I knew that. Exactly. I knew that. All right. So for those of you new to Allison, all right, your background, you have got a famous sprint car father. Tell us about him.
So my dad's Bobby Marshall. I grew up in Texas. Devil's Bowl Speedway is his home track. And so he was one of the first guys that ran the World of Outlaws tour. So it was a great time in sprint car racing back then.
No
great
doubt.
Stories for sure.
I am sure. That is for sure. Now, we go on. You and I shared Kenny Wallace, not at the same time, but we both have a past with Kenny Wallace doing PR.
Absolutely.
That is an education in itself, isn't it?
In itself. I started out as PR and ended up going to work directly for him and Kim as his business manager.
Yeah.
So,
Kenny's great. Yeah.
Part of the family still to this day. We all are, right?
I know exactly. Yeah. Once you're with Kenny, your family, exactly. And and you do all the PR, okay. And now your life is taking you. So you are a mom of a racer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Tell me about your boy. So
Colt is 7 now. He'll be 8 in May. We started him out in quarter midgets just because they have a great rookie program, you know, and there's such an opportunity to travel, to go to some regional races. And Danielle, another Kenny Wallace PR graduate. So Danielle Fry runs the USAC national program now for quarter midgets. And so we did that for a couple of years. We still have a quarter midget that we're definitely planning on racing some more with him. Colt's biggest race he's excited about this year is going to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but this time they're going to run the dirt track with quarter midgets. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it happens to be the same week that SRX is in town. It's 4th of July weekend. So my husband is the competition director for SRX.
Right.
So he's with Aaron and Ray at the racetrack in Stafford right now.
There we go.
They're testing. And so we'll be able to do a 2-for-1. We can go watch them race out at the pavement track and then go to the dirt track, and Colt can run his quarter midget. But now he's into outlaw karts. As soon as we let him run a dirt car one time, he looked at me and he goes, "Mom, I don't care if I ever run a quarter midget again." He said, "I want to see my buddies, but dirt track racing is where I want to be." So
we have it, and I've shared this with people. North Carolina, 10 years ago when we started Wing Nation, North Carolina was all late model country.
For sure.
And great late model racing. Yeah. This is not a knock on it. Our open wheel scene has flipped nearly 180 degrees. No, we're not Pennsylvania. We're not California. We get that, okay?
Right.
But our scene is really good, and it starts with Millbridge Speedway. What they have done there is amazing for families like you to go racing and get the kids involved. It's amazing what we have here in our area.
The level of competition out there,
insane.
I mean, it's insane. And it's the same way at Salisbury at the North Carolina Quarter Midget Association. If you can race well here on either one of those tracks, when these kids go and race somewhere else, they always perform so well because just the level of equipment, I mean, just because of the motorsports industry here, and then just the level of competition and talent. I mean, kids start young. My dad didn't start racing till he was 19 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why his number was 19. I'm pretty sure. I think he just picked it because
it was
one of his favorite numbers, and it was his age at the time. So, but I mean, Colt started, he went through quarter midget training at 4.5. So, he's going to be 8, and this is his 3rd season of racing.
It's crazy. So, how are you doing? Are you good with, were you nervous or concerned about, the path and you're a racing girl. I get that. But did mom say, here's a golf club, here's a baseball bat or anything like that? Or were you all into the racing?
No, I take him with me pretty much everywhere I go. And I mean, and I love it. I mean, it's my passion. And I love spending time with family, with friends. Your racing family is your family, you know? So, no, I wanted him to race. My only thing was I told Ryan from the beginning, I said, no flat carts. I'm just, as long as it has a roll cage on it. So that was my one thing. I know so many friends keep saying, you got to get him in a go-kart at GoPro, and which is another amazing track that we have right here. Yeah. And no, when they tell you that those carts are designed for the kid to actually fly out of them, if they,
that's not what a mom wants to do, right?
No. So, I'm lucky enough that over the years throughout my career, I've worked with all the best safety companies for one driver or another. And so I feel like, we're never going to skimp when it comes to safety.
Sure.
And but I feel like my kid is safer with a helmet and a hybrid on, strapped in a quarter midget or an outlaw cart than he is playing football, which he is dying to do. And he's like, you would rather me race than play football? And I said, yes, absolutely. I mean, I do. I'm from Texas. I love football. It's like a religion there. But
Friday Night Lights, exactly.
I said, we'll wait till you're at least in middle school. So now, between baseball and racing two different kinds of cars, we got enough going on.
I know the answer to this question because I was out there and I saw him. Your dad is not into his grandson racing at all, is he? No, not at all.
No, not at all.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I don't know if he's chief mechanic, chief publicist, he's grandpa.
He is.
And I had a chance to catch up with him out there. It's just, but you talk about that's the family aspect of the sport. How many families are grandpa, and mom in the middle of it out there when you're getting dirty and doing what you're doing? That's fantastic.
Well, and my husband, he didn't grow up with dirt racing as much. Mm-hmm. He's from Anderson, Indiana.
Okay, yeah.
So, little 500. He grew up more pavement stuff.
Yeah.
And so, but, moved down here early on. He's worked in NASCAR, most of his entire life. And so, for him, I mean, I took him to his first Chili Bowl, Ryan hasn't been in Knoxville yet, but Colt went with me last year. He ran his first Outlaw Kart Nationals and was there for Knoxville. So now it's, you can't go without me, Mom. You can't leave me. Yeah. I gotta go see my guys. I gotta go see my friends.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Those kids out there, Millbirds, they're all buddies. They really are. They're all buddies for sure. Finally, Racing Roots. You're in the podcasting world. Tell me about Racing Roots.
So Taylor McLean and I started a podcast. We started joking about this, I think probably Chili Bowl 2 years ago. We were just kind of telling stories and said, we know the stories behind the stories. Yeah. We know the stories that got us there, or got these people to that position. So we were just talking about telling the more human side of it, the background to things. And so she finally convinced me to do it. And so we've got like 4 episodes out so far. Nice. We interviewed Erin. We've already asked Ashley if she'll do it as well. So you're on our list as well. So we're going to be calling you too. Yeah. But you can get it on any podcast platform.
Yep. Racing Roots.
Yep. Absolutely. Right now we're doing one every other week. We didn't want to do too much at first. We're going to try and record a lot this summer. Maybe when we're more together this summer.
People jump in and say, I'm going to do one here and I'm going to do one here. And I'm like, that's great. What are you going to do on your 23rd show?
Yeah.
What are you going to do on show 46? You start off and manage it. And that's kind of a little bit.
Well, and I don't think people realize that some people might know her as Brian Clausen's little sister, but I don't think they realize what she does with the Indiana Donor Network and that Driven to Save Lives program. So with the theory behind it was, and actually Tim Clausen is the one that finally just said, y'all got to do this. You got to quit talking about it. So she's the Clausen and I'm the Marshall. So
got it covered, right?
So
that is cool. Hey, let's get to our Hefner Racing Products Hot Topics. World of Outlaws. James McFadden and Carson Macedo finally put a stop to Brad Sweet. Boy, Sweet was on a roll, wasn't he?
Man, he was on a roll. I mean, that team is just so good right now. They're just clicking on all cylinders.
And we're going to talk to James McFadden to find out not only how Brad Sweet's team is, but how his team, KKR, is rolling along really, really well. Central Pennsylvania, Williams Grove, we need to get up there and start doing rain dances or something because they have struggled, been brutal. Lincoln, they all went Aliquippa at Lincoln. It was Tim Schaefer getting the win. Anthony Macri picked up the win at Port Royal. I love this. Danny Dietrich, 14th to 4th at Port Royal, right up on the fence, jumps in the transporter with the fire suit on.
It's awesome.
Hauls it off. That is your dad. That is throwback. That's what they did.
Old school racing right there. Racing. Absolutely, I love it.
Yeah, went down to Lincoln and threw the gear change in it and raced to 11th place finish, had motor problems. I want to give a shout out to Brandon Spithaler. He is a racer from Western Pennsylvania, went to Attica and scored his first career win. Great stuff. Hey, our friends at Hefner Racing Products, they love karting, from sprint to road racing to outlaw karts. HRP Streeter Super Stands are the number one selling brand for karting. Automatic electronic lifts, rolling stands, stacker to carry multiple carts. Just like sprint cars, HRP has tire racks, engine racks, bead breakers, and a full line of karting accessories. You can find out more at hrpracing.com. We talked about James McFadden. He's going to join us here in a little bit, but Kokomo Speedway on Friday night, World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. Here's Johnny Gibson with a little bit of the action.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
Now to the inside of the speedway, James McFadden looking for the low side, can't get it done in 1 and 2. Gravel right back to the very bottom. McFadden around the traffic on the cushion. Out of turn number 4, McFadden looking for the lead, and he'll have it as they cross the line on lap 11. James McFadden takes the lead.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official death of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
For decades, Dryden Lubricants has been made in America and made to last, paving the way on our highways, in our fields, and on the production line. Today, Dryden offers a complete line of engine oils, greases, hydraulic and transmission fluids, and diesel exhaust fluid. If you want greater performance and protection for your critical engines and equipment, go to Dryden.com. Dryden, American owned and operated, and a proud supporter of racing and race fans everywhere. For a year-round high-quality eating experience, look no further than Sage Fruit apples, pears, and cherries. Not only is their produce healthy, but they are grown with such care and precision that you can count on each piece of fruit having exceptional flavor. Sage Fruit, it's our first choice for quick and easy snacking. Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Tires, right on our strength, is rolling along. We're in the Hercules Tire Studios in Concord, North Carolina. Let's go to the Dryden Hotline. Fresh off from a trip to Victory Lane at Kokomo, James McFadden joins us. Hello, James. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Well, it is great to talk to you. It's about time someone beat your teammate. No, we were rolling along. I would dare say KKR, with the way you're performing and the way Brad is rolling, you guys got it firing on all 8 cylinders.
Yeah, right now it's a pretty cool place to be. KKR's, obviously, Brad's been dominating the last few races, and then to be up there with him and then to fight for the wins the last couple shows and then to get one's been pretty cool. Obviously the 49's the benchmark right now, and I think we're pretty close to around where they are.
Absolutely. I mean, it's incredible what you've done since you got back to the States. So how do you feel like Casey and that team just set everything up and had it all ready to go for you when you got here?
Obviously, Casey did a really good job at the start of the year and sort of made me rush to get here because he was going so well. I was worried for my seat. But, yeah, he did an awesome job, and I think the car right now is to be honest, the best car I've sort of driven in my career. So getting me comfortable straight away was seamless, really. I just jumped back in like I'd been there, for the whole year. So this is our 3rd year together, and I think that helps a lot too. Got the same team for the last couple of years, and just it's really fun to drive right now, and it's really fun to be a part of the whole KKR operation.
So do you and Casey have similar driving styles? Like, do you like the same things in a car, or is it just that your guys were so familiar with you from the past year that they were just able to take what Casey had already honed in on and just adapt it to your style?
Yeah, more the second option there. Casey and I are probably a little different in driving styles. I'm a lot more aggressive on the wheel, and he's super smooth and probably the opposite to how I am. So the first few races was just sort of getting the base of the car was really good. Just getting it fine tuned to what I like, and like I said, we had notes from last year that we sort of are going through, and then obviously what those guys work worked on at the start of the season obviously worked for what Casey did. So putting them both together, and it ended up, pretty good race car right now. And like I said, a lot of fun to drive.
James, you have had a fascinating career in that down under, you're like king of the world down there. You're one of the top guys. Here in the States, you've bounced around a lot, and it's difficult. I know with travel and not being here. You filled in for Casey a couple years ago when he got injured. It's amazing, and you have found a really good home now where you're on that upper level of racing here. This opportunity with Kasey Kahne has really served you well, it appears, from my perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been coming to America for probably 9 years now, and I just sort of bounce in and do 20 races and leave again. So I always come in the hardest part of the year through the summer with all the big races, and sort of would have a bunch of good results and then a lot of bad ones too. So it was actually to the point that I was about done, trying to race over here, and was happy and content just to be in Australia. And then the opportunity with Casey came, and obviously an unfortunate circumstances led to that opportunity. And then what was going to be a 10-race sort of schedule ended up being now full-time on the Outlaw Tour. So I can't thank Casey enough, and everyone involved with the team. It's a pleasure to drive that car. Obviously, it's a Outlaw Championship winning car, and the people on it are unbelievable, and this organisation is great. So, yeah, to be here is great. It's obviously the pressure of being in the 9 car is there, and it's something that I'm really enjoying doing. It's taken a lot on my end to get here and be able to, stay for the whole 10 months, and something that I'm really, really looking forward to.
When you jump in with a team like Casey, well, anyway, the World of Outlaws, you become family. I've been seeing all kinds of stuff on Twitter. You are not only driving the wheels off that race car. I see you now with Casey's new screen printing T-shirt business. It sounds like they're working you about 50, 60 hours a week before they send you to the racetrack there. You've, away from the actual racing and the race car, looks like they're keeping you busy up there.
Yeah, I can't sit still. I can't. I need to be doing something. And, today I'm building workbenches and shelves for the screen printing place. But yeah, it's a bunch of fun here. I'm a hands-on guy. I like to work on the car. I like to be busy. Otherwise, I'm bored, and I start to miss my family a lot more and being away. So the busier I can stay, the better it is. And sort of sounds funny, but getting back to reality for 3 or 4 days a week is really cool, and it makes you look forward to going to the races more and more.
Absolutely. So you're a new dad, and then you have the biggest opportunity, I'm assuming, of your racing career. And I've never heard you say that before, that you were that close to being done. So that had to be an incredibly hard decision, but one that it's amazing you were able to balance. How were you able to make that work with your family to have a new baby boy and then head back over here and jump in a race car?
Yeah, circumstances basically. I have a business at home building sprint car engines, and I sort of started to think that I was going to look at doing that a little bit more and start looking towards the future of what I was going to do after racing. And then the opportunity to drive the 9 arose, and last year we started chatting about it, just thrown around there halfway through the year, and then as the year progressed, we started talking about it more seriously, and obviously my partner was pregnant at the time, and I think for me, if I didn't do it now, I would never have done it. My family are going to come over, hopefully, if all things go to plan in May, and be with me for the year. And yeah, just the way it all worked out. My partner owns a business, and she had to shut that down, for the 6 months, 9 months while she was looking after a little boy. And like I said, circumstances worked out that it's going to work. And the whole coronavirus thing makes it a lot harder than normal to travel. So that was about the only limiting factor that we had. But lucky enough, I have a very understanding partner and great support people back home with my parents and my partner's parents. And like I said, it was a opportunity and a dream, basically opportunity to live my dream. And I think if I was older and didn't do it, I would regret it. So that was basically what it all came down to.
As a guy that moved away from a situation, I did not have a child, but was in a long relationship and things were rolling along, I took a move like that, and you will not regret it. You, no matter what the results are, you can kind of go back. I love that story, and I love people who take a chance, even when family and all of that are kind of piling up on you. There's very few opportunities like this 9 car. So when she comes over, when they come over, are you going to be the motor coach family wheeling around the country with the motor coach? Or how are you going to navigate that when they get over here?
Yeah, I actually just bought a motorhome, so obviously the steering wheel's on the wrong side and everything's all different. So it'll be a learning experience. I'm sure I'll leave a slide out or be working on it every day of the week. But looking forward to that part. Honestly, I think for me that's going to be a really cool experience. I have my family on the road and something that me and my partner can talk to our kid about when we're older and say, we traveled America, raced the sprint cars. Like, not many people in the world get to say that. And like I said, it's the opportunity with the 9 car and KKR is huge, and something that, like I said, I would have regretted not doing. So if we can, make it as much family orientated as we can, still racing, I'm going to be pretty happy with that.
Well, and from a fan perspective, Steve and I can definitely say that we're grateful that you took that opportunity because it's been incredible to watch you so far this year. And if you're this good while you've got all those other things on your mind and you're, part of your heart's in Australia back home, then when they get here, watch out because the rest of those guys I feel like are going to be in trouble. But you're also really lucky to be surrounded, like you said, by a great racing family on this side. I mean, Casey's an amazing dad. You see him and his son a lot, and then Brad's a dad as well, and just the whole World of Outlaws tour. Anybody I feel like that's lucky enough to be on there. You always hear the stories about people having motorhome problems, but they stop on the road and they're all helping each other out and stuff. So don't worry, they'll make sure. I'm sure the rest of the guys will give you a hard time too. But don't try to out-polish Sheldon Hanschild and his wheels because that gets him very upset. He has to have the shiniest wheels. But everybody helps out. So that's incredible. I'm excited for you, and I'm excited as a fan just to see what happens the rest of the year for you.
No, I appreciate it. It's I'm living my dream, and sacrificed a lot to come over here and do this. So I'm not here to just make up the numbers. I think my mindset's a lot better than it has been in previous years, and you got to sacrifice so much. You've got to make it worthwhile, and that's the plan so far. And I feel like I'm driving as good as I have. My car's probably the best car I've ever driven, so confidence is high. I don't know if I'm going to go better when my family comes because I'm probably going to live on 4 or 5 hours sleep, but that'll be fun. Like I said, just a really cool experience, a bucket list thing. Not many people get to tick bucket list items off in their life, and for me it's something that I've always wanted to do, but I just never had a grip on it. Opportunity to do it and for it to come is pretty special.
Special indeed, and the racing you're doing is pretty special as well, James. We're going to get you back to your workbenches and your shelving up there. We don't want things to get slowed down up in the production facility up there in Mooresville. But thanks for the time. We appreciate you spending some time with us here today.
Oh, good. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
There we go. James McFadden joining us here. Man, that guy. That's just
such a cool story.
He really is. Last year, they do KKR up there. They do a flea market for the local 305 racers. And I'm up there, and James is just hanging out there having a beer with it. And the 305 drivers, they're like, oh my gosh, James McFadden's here.
Yeah.
And he knows so much about cars, and he builds engines down in Australia. And they were like, Oh my gosh, they're just literally standing around picking their brains. So not only did Casey and everyone up there provide a flea market where they could get some parts, but they had a genius there too for the guys.
Absolutely.
And James was
a little bit of
amazing.
free advice.
It really was. So really, really fun stuff. Love what's happening with James McFadden. Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Over 200 events from coast to coast, and they're celebrating 30 years of Scattering Soil, the American Sprint Car Series, the world's largest sprint car sanctioning body, and bringing more thrills with wing and even more non-wing action in 2021. 11 regional tours, the national tour. No matter where you are, we're coming to a track near you. Can't be there? Get double the streaming fun with Racing Boys and FlowRacing.com, bringing all the adrenaline to your favorite streaming device. See the full lineup of this now at ASCSRacing.com.
Circle B Diecast is the new diecast outlet from Plan B Sales. What started as Lionel and Chase Authentics apparel distributor has grown into the largest distributor of diecast and now includes Auto World, Greenlight Collectibles, Brand Art, Sam Bass Artwork, and University of Racing lines. They have a huge inventory. The folks at Circle B Diecast love racing and support drivers like Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Christopher Bell, and many others with sponsorships and partnerships. And on orders over $20, use promo code MRN for free shipping. Check them out, CircleBDiecast.com.
We are spoiled, rotten sprint car fans in 2021, Allison.
Absolutely.
I am telling you, with all of our pay-per-view options, okay? I get to pop down, I get to do my NASCAR thing, and then on a Friday night, late night, pop on to Flow Racing, check out Ocean Speedway, and then I see my pal Bud Kading picking up the win. He joins us now on the Dry Dean Hotline. Hello, Bud. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
How we doing, guys?
Doing good. How are you?
Not too bad. Just working here at the shop, getting stuff ready to go for this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, congratulations on that win at Ocean Speedway. I'm telling you, you win in the 360s in California. You got a handful out there, but you got the win on Friday night. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the 360 thing obviously has gotten pretty big here over the last few years, and I'd say the toughest competition you got in the state right now is Friday nights up there at Ocean Speedway with, you know, Netto's and Justin Sanders and, I mean, Golubic showing up. I mean, there's you know, 35 to 45 cars on a Friday night right now. So it's definitely the toughest field of cars that you have here. Everyone shows up on Friday night up there. It's the only gig in the state on Friday nights right now.
Yeah. So you just rolled into it. The state of, we talk about this. That's the only Friday night gig. There's all kinds of options on Saturday night as far as 360 goes. But it just appears that the 360 world out there is fairly healthy at that point. Is that where you guys are at in California, Bud?
Unfortunately, yeah. You're kind of forced to run them. I mean, we're 410 people. That's what we started racing. But somebody got it in their brain that it was cheaper to run 360s, and really the only thing cheaper about 360 racing is the guy paying the purse at this rate. I mean, it's the same everything. And I don't know if you guys have bought a new 360 motor in the last year or two, but they're within $3,000 to $5,000 of a 410 motor. So I think that analogy of it being cheaper kind of went out the window. But it's sprint car racing at the end of the day. You know, Peter Murphy down in Hanford, he's been throwing some 410 races out there. So we got to do that on Saturday. So he's working with Jim Allen and King of the West and guys out here in the state to try to bring the 410 thing back to health.
So is everybody's goal right now that you're just trying to race as much as you can and just stay prepared when the Outlaws do get to come back through California? I mean, it's really disappointing that, you know, they're not able to come out there. I know that a lot of you guys, I mean, you know, you set the show on fire out there when those guys come out there. So is that what everybody's kind of trying to do right now, is just keep the competition going and stay sharp and ready for when the Outlaws come back through in some of those big money shows?
I mean, you could say that, yes, and you can say that no. I mean, we're on a different tire than the Outlaws, so a lot of what we do with our cars with the HTW out here. It doesn't really apply to the Outlaws H tire. So at least just staying sharp, getting your motors running, keeping them running, and at the end of the day, it's 410 racing in my mind, and always has been, always will be better racing. So really for the fans, if you want to see a better race, I think it's 410 racing. I'm not bad mouthing 360s. I just think 410s is really the pinnacle of sprint car racing. Like any other sport, you got a top series, and that's 410. So when you win, against the 410 guys out here, it's as tough as anything, I think, across the whole country, with as competitive as it's gotten out here in California.
So the Kading family has done pretty much everything there is to do in racing. Is there some promoting in your future then? Because it sounds like you've got some good ideas, and I have a feeling you'd have the support there too.
I don't know. It's something maybe I thought about, but I still enjoy racing, and until I'm not competitive, then I guess, or can't find the money to continue to do it, then I might kick that around. I do a little bit of work with John Prentice every year, promoting my grandfather's race up at Ocean Speedway, and that's a lot of fun, and it's something that I enjoy doing. So it's just getting tougher out here to try to find that dollar to make it all happen. So. And with Peter down there at Hanford, he works pretty closely with a lot of the teams and a lot of the people in the sport, and he's got a lot of support from a lot of the racers and families and fans to help his events. And the pool's going to start being shallow if I don't make a move quick, I think.
Yeah, there you go. But exactly. I want to take your assessment of the 360 racing, and let's talk about 410 racing in the state of California. King of the West, a great tour that's going on out there, and we had Dominic Scelzi on, and he shared with us what Peter's got going on with some 410 racing. Is really the goal here to get and then when you figure the Outlaws come through a couple times a year, which hopefully in September, and then hopefully next year we get back to normal with the spring and a fall tour, get this so that this 360 field of cars will invest in 410s. Is that kind of the big picture goal that some of you guys are hoping for out in California?
Ultimately, yes. That's really the goal that Peter's working toward, and I think he's doing a good job with it. I'd say 2 years ago, if we would have went down and just had a standalone 410 race down in Hanford, we might have had 13 cars, and last weekend we had 26, and a few of them were 360s. But those guys, if they want to keep up and they want to win the bigger races here in California, they'll find out that they're going to have to get a 410. And I think a lot differently, I guess, than most people about it. I think the 360 racing, what it pays for 360 racing is pretty good for where it should be at. We need to give people an incentive to get out of the 360 and buy the 410. And so that, the purchase for the 410s need to rise for those people to, make it look a little more appealing for them. And I think that we should backtrack with a couple of our things. Our local 360 races, I think we need to cut back to 20 or 25 laps, and create a division between 360s and 410s where, if a fan shows up at the races, a lot of the time they don't know if they're watching a 360 or a 410. So, if we're at a Friday night show up at Watsonville, it is 30 laps, and that fan's paying $17 when the grandstands are open. Well, they're paying $17 for a 410 race as well. So I think if we cut lap, I don't know, somewhere to just create a diversion of what the difference is between them without me sitting there and telling you that this is a 360 or that's a 410 or advertising it that way. So I don't know. The 410 thing, I guess to get back to the question at hand here, it is getting bigger. Pete's doing a good job. Jim Allen is handling all the stuff with King of the West. He's doing a good job with Fujitsu, and we have some corporate sponsorship there, and that's been a pretty fun project and fun thing to be a part of the last few years. 2020 was obviously everywhere really dead, not having anybody at the track, but we at least rose above and had a few races, so that was really cool, and just really looking forward to 2021. We'll start getting some people back in the grandstands here in the next couple of weeks, and get the state back opened up and get people in the stands and the pits. It was overwhelming on Saturday, when we were at Hanford, and there were allowed people in the stands there, and we were getting interviewed, and it was I kind of choked up talking. It was cool to see all the people back at the track, and a lot of good energy there.
I don't think I think it's interesting, and it's funny to hear you say that. because on Sunday afternoon, I was out on the front stretch with Martin Truex Jr. at Martinsville.
Yeah.
And it impacted him the same way.
Not the name drop or anything, right?
No. I mean, well, then I was telling Martin I was with Bud Kading. I'm talking to Bud Kading this Tuesday, so he was impressed. He was real impressed. But no, I think it's kind of like we assumed the fans were part of this. Last year, we realized it wasn't part of it, and it's a huge part of the energy as a race car driver to have a buzz and fans at these racetracks.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a pretty cool feeling, and you kind of take advantage of when, as a driver, and you're out looking at the track, and there's a fan yelling for you or booing for you, and you don't really know what that puts inside of you until you don't have it anymore. And last year, being at the racetrack, you just kind of got used to it, where you weren't hearing nothing. You look in the grandstands, and there's not a soul up there, and so yeah, it's cool to see him back and hear the fans screaming for you, or like I said, or booing for you, because we get a little of that as well. So all of it's cool, and I can't wait to get it all back to normal.
I mean, thank goodness for all of the streaming that we had, and for being able to just watch racing, because I can't watch video game racing on TV. Like, nothing against iRacing or anything, but it's not the same. I need to hear it. I need it to be yeah. So thank goodness that that we're back and we have those fans back, because there's got to be nothing bigger than a letdown than to get out of the car from winning a race and there's no one there to celebrate with. I mean,
yeah, no, that's exactly right. Nobody there. You get out and you're excited, and it's and I couldn't imagine being in the other, another sport like basketball, with those guys, the fans that they have and the energy levels that those guys bring into the stadium, the fans do, and just to have nobody, and that they're piping in fans, and it's pretty fake to me.
We're not doing that at any racetracks anytime soon. That's not happening. So we're glad to have our fans back for sure. But so is there any traveling in your future then, maybe later on this year, for some of those bigger paying money races? Maybe some of them where they're doubling up. Like I know Eldora's added, extra races in and stuff. Is there any of that in your future?
If I had an opportunity to go do it, I'd love to get back racing a little bit on the road or travel a little more. But financially, it's tough for me to do. And then, all my crew guys, everybody's got a 40-hour-a-week job or more. So it's tough for us to get out of here. Racing for me is not like it used to be 10 years ago when I had good backing and employees that work for us full time. Now we're here after work, working on the cars and getting stuff ready for the weekend. So with our car, I doubt it unless somebody wanted to help push that along. But we're content with what we have going on right now. We're busy, real busy here at the speed shop, and just trying to keep that rolling, and then obviously make our race program better every week. And it's tough to contend with some of these guys now. Where the competition level is so high now, and everybody's equipment is top notch. So I mean, if you show up and you're a little bit off, it's hard to gather that back up on the weekends.
Boy, you said a mouthful there, that's for sure. Well, Bud, I'm telling you, it was great to see you pick up the win. I love what Dominic shared with us and what you've shared with us, the vision of 410 Racing. And Peter is just going good. And, we've had Jim Allen on. We love talking to him about everything, including his bacon. They give away bacon, Allison, at these races.
So just a quick story. Jim, I've known Jim since I was a kid. He used to run the series out here back in the 80s and 90s. And early 2000s when it was sponsored by Budweiser, and he was working down in Southern California. Been about 6 years now, and we were connected on Facebook. And I was down in Disneyland on the weekend, and called him in to come and having lunch with me at ESPN Zone. And we were talking about sprint car racing and had a few cocktails. And by the end of that, we had him at a race a couple weeks later, and he was back out here running and working for the series again the next year. So. That's a pretty cool story to get him back out here, and he's done real good things for us. It was getting pretty stale until Jim came back, so we've got some real cool things going on. It's getting better as a fan for the fans aspect, and like the bacon is good. I'm telling you, haven't had any of that Sunny Valley bacon. The jalapeno is Probably the best bacon I've ever had in my life.
I mean, bacon and beer, you had me right there. Bacon, beer, and dirt track racing.
Yeah, that's the trifecta.
I'm sold.
That is a cool story, how you got Jim back into the fold. I love
Very
that.
Cool.
I'm glad you did, because he is he's doing a wonderful job out there. Well, Bud, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the win Friday night, and more so, I'd love to see this thing within a year or two with the 410 World in California. We're starting to talk more and more about it as far as number of races and number of great teams out there. I think you guys have got a good plan, so we wish you the best on that as well.
All right. Well, thank you guys for having me on. And like you were speaking earlier, don't forget that you don't have to just watch the races on Flow and Dirt Vision. You can get off the couch and get out, support your local track as they open back up, and let the fans back in the speedway. So I want to thank you guys for having the show. It's a lot of fun. Gets a lot of feedback for us out here on the West Coast, especially when you have us drivers on.
Appreciate it, Bud. Thank you, man.
Take care, guys.
There we go. Bud Kading. Boy, you said a mouthful there at the end, too. I love our pay-per-view, but
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, get to the racetrack.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like the smell, nothing.
Yeah, I went out
feeling.
there. I did the Kading Classic at Ocean 2 or 3 years ago. And I am telling you, I fell in love with California short track racing.
Yeah.
I had a weekend planned last year, and it got, obviously everything last year got canceled.
Yeah.
And not knowing what was going on, it was just kind of like, well, do I plan one this year? They have 5 nights of racing, the fastest 5 nights in motorsports coming up, but I'm tied up with my NASCAR duties somewhere along the way. And I just couldn't make it, but I have got to get back out to California because that sprint car scene is phenomenal.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so many great tracks that I know that my parents told me that I went to when I was younger, but, but I don't necessarily remember them. And so I would love to get back out there and hit a string of races.
That's good. Good stuff. Always good catching up with Bud Kading.
Just like racing components, Aggressive Hydraulics purpose builds hydraulic cylinders to perform for customer-specific applications. They design and manufacture mobile-style, single-stage cylinders as well as multi-stage telescopic cylinders. It's a no one-size-fits-all approach with Aggressive Hydraulics. Hydraulic solutions for virtually every industry that uses hydraulic cylinders. They proudly design and manufacture all cylinders in the United States. Check out the video of their story at aggressivehydraulics.com.
Sage Fruit has been a longtime supporter of sprint car racing, sprint car fans, and us here at Wing Nation. What they pride themselves on most is providing shoppers with the highest quality, best tasting apples, pears, and cherries available. Go to sagefruit.com and make sure you ask your local grocer for Sage Fruit. One of our favorite spots in the entire world is turn number 2 at Knoxville Raceway. I know it's one of my favorites, and I know it's one of your favorites too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We talk about the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. We do it in the under the context of a birthday calendar. So earlier this week, Newton Buzz Rose. Later this week, Joey Chitwood Sr., Al Hamilton, Earl Wagner, Don Shepard, W.C. Bud Winfield. Today is the birthday of Leroy Van Conant, a 1999 inductee into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. His name was the Dragon from Galt. That was the nickname. I love the nicknames.
I've heard lots of Leroy stories over the years.
Have you talked to Mike Larson, Kyle's dad?
Oh, yeah.
Mike Larson, Leroy Van Conant is Mike Larson's hero and favorite driver.
Oh, that's awesome.
We've talked about him. We talked about him at Millbridge. That night I was up there at Chad with you. Mike and I got talking, and he got talking about Leroy Van Conant stories. It's amazing stuff. It really is. Yeah, it's good stuff. He started racing jalopies and then moved to the modifieds, super modifieds, and then to sprint cars. He was an 8-time NARC champion with 65 wins. I think only Brent Kading has more of the championships and wins out there. So pretty high cotton.
He was the king of the NARC series for sure.
Yeah,
Brent was,
Yeah, no doubt about it. And great stuff. And the beauty of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is those stories are enshrined for you and I to enjoy. So when you go to Knoxville this year, make sure you carve some time out, and you better carve a lot of time out.
Absolutely.
Because you just can't take a whirlwind 20-minute tour through the Hall of Fame.
And if you're lucky enough to run into Shane Carson, then you get to hear all of the good stories, and your tour takes twice as long, and it's the best time that you've spent all week without a car on the racetrack.
Greatest museum finds, okay? Shane Carson in Knoxville, or Lynn Paxton at the Eastern Museum in Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
You get Lynn or Shane, you are getting ready to go to college.
Yes, and you better watch your start time because heat races are coming up if you don't get out of there.
And the thing of it is the problem of it is you're enjoying the education as much as anything because they're just wonderful people.
Absolutely. The stories behind the stories.
Yeah, absolutely. The Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum has a Corvette drawing coming up. A 2021 Z51 Elkhart Lake Blue. This metallic blue Corvette is beautiful. LT3 Corvette. Drawing is August 14th, right before the A feature for the Knoxville Nationals. You can go to www.winaz51corvette.com, or you can just go to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum site, sprintcarhof.com, sprintcarhof.com. All right, now, we have got some big news going on here, okay? We have, and I just put it, I programmed it, so hopefully it's gone out on our social media in the last half hour or so. We have 10th anniversary Wing Nation gear available now.
I just checked it out yesterday.
Yeah.
I just looked on there, and I've got to get the sunset T-shirt with the palm trees.
The sunset
with
palm trees.
With the 10 in the nation. Man, y'all nailed it. There's some great stuff on there.
So you can do it one of two ways. You can go to wingnation.com, and we have a link there, and you can order it up. Or those of you going to the racetrack, we're partners with Classic Ink. They're our buddies. They're our pals. They run the souvenir rig for the All-Stars. So if you're at Virginia Motor Speedway, you're at Williams Grove, you're at Port Royal, you're at Bedford this weekend, you can just get it there. And they grab multiple things. We got hats, we've got hoodies, we got T-shirts. 10th anniversary of Wing Nation. Who thought that was going to happen?
Incredible what you and Kendra started.
Well, and speaking of Kendra, she's going to join us for a podcast this week that'll drop on Thursday. So Kendra Jacobs is our guest on the podcast on Thursday. You can follow along with us on Twitter, on Facebook, and on the YouTube page as well. And then coming up on this weekend show by Sage Fruit, our television show, Brian Brown joins us. And that is Wednesday night on Rev TV in Canada and Saturday night on MAV TV. Great hanging out with you here today, Allison.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
Oh, love talking sprint car racing. I always say it's our favorite time of the week, and this week didn't fail us as well. So stay with us, and you will hear from us, Kendra on Thursday and Brownie this weekend on our TV show. Thanks for joining us on Wing Nation, presented by Hercules Health.